No, actually, I'm gonna skip that one for now. I'll go with the one I think I've talked about before. Robin Fraser. Think probably plenty of people have had him on the hot seat as well. Colorado have struggled a lot this season. They are sitting 12th place in the West on 8 points, 6 goals scored. And this is similarly to Vermees following up a season where they finished 10th. Whereas 2 seasons ago, they were top of the Western Conference miraculously somehow. But last season was not a good year for them. They looked poor, they played poor. This season so far, they've continued it again. Before I mean, obviously he's on my hot seat, so obviously I think he's up for debate on whether or not he should be sacked. I have a question for you though on this. Do you think that this is more so on Robin Fraser and his tactics, or do you think it's more so on Colorado and their team building? So I don't think Colorado has a very good team, just to be honest.
So I agree with you. I think there's much more of an issue in the team than there is in the coach. However, I don't think that the team that he has should be performing the way that they are. I think he needs to move on from William Yarbrough. Personally, talked about that. Maxo and Abubakar are a great pairing. Um, Gerbosh on the left with Rosenberry on the right, a proven uh, MLS right back. I just wanna pull up some appearance stats here. Hold on. There we go. Um, so I don't think that the whole issue of the back line, I don't think that's massively an issue. I think they've done well. Jack Price injury hurts them 100%. That's definitely going to hurt them. Paul Bassett's been okay. Max has been underwhelming. Um, Ralph Priso is still young, trying to learn. You got Connor Ronan, who should be running this league. Sam Nicholson's been underperforming. Diego Rubio, we know what he can do. He's just coming off of injury, so you got to give him some more time. Cabral, we've talked about. I think he's underperforming. Uh, Jonathan Jordan Lewis, a shell of himself. Barrios is the only guy who's really putting in goals right now, and Darren Yapi, who is 18 years old. So again, it's a young team, but I think that they have the quality there to be competing better than they are. And I think that Robin Fraser has the ability to do that. I'm just reading some of my notes here. 10th in 2022, 12th in the league currently. He's got signings through the door. It's not like they left him with just a bunch of homegrown signings. Like I mentioned, Maxo is still there. Gerbosh on the left back. We talked about the players that they needed to replace. They went and replaced them. One big injury to Price kills them, but you got Cole Bassett back. Connor Ronan, as I mentioned, coming in. They really, really, really are missing a striker, a second striker from Rubio and Yapi, just to give a different option, I think. Um, but if you're going to make all these signings and the team continues to fall short, eventually you have to turn to the guy who's making decisions. The guy making decisions is not putting the team in the best position to win and be successful, then it's on his shoulders or her shoulders or whoever it is. They have not looked any bit impressive in 2 years. I don't remember a single game where like, man, this Colorado team's legit. And even in the first place finish, I think we all unanimously said as soon as the season was over, this is the worst number one seed the Western Conference has seen in a decade. Because they were. They lucked out a bunch of 1-0 wins and had a really, really, I'm going to say lucky for now, but I don't think he's gone yet. Again, I think the Jack Price injury hurts. If we're going to give um, Vermees that idea, like, oh, you've got injuries and whatever, then we need to give it to him too, because that Jack Price injury, I mean, he ran everything there. However, I think I think they're getting warm there. If he can't get this team to perform, again, the window is still open. I think for a day or so. Um, they really should be getting that. The sorry, not that, the striker. I think they should be looking at another striker to try and balance things out. But at the end of the day, they just need to get a system that works. If this is the team they're going to have for the next few months, they need to find the system that works, and that's what matters.
So I know I just mentioned that I think Robin Fraser is on the hot seat. I do want to caveat that and say in defense of Robin Fraser, I don't think that he truly deserves to be on the hot seat. I think
Interesting.
genuinely, well, I think he's gonna get sacked. If this continues, he's gonna get sacked. But I don't think he should be the one to blame because they don't build a good team in Colorado. I'm looking at you. Can you take a guess at how many DPs they've had since 2020?
Fair. I think it's two.
They've had four. I mean, it should be like two. They had Eunice Nomley for 2 seasons, maybe
Yep.
less than that. They had Zardes last year for 1 year. And now they have Kevin Cabral, who doesn't even start for them.
Is Kevin
Uh,
Cabral on a DP contract still?
yeah,
Oh
they have his
wow.
Galaxy contract.
Oh,
And Maxo, who I think will be a good DP for them. But in fairness, I mean, look at that list of DPs. That's dreadful. They don't. You have the opportunity to have 3 DPs on your team. One of them was a guy you didn't sign to a DP contract and you just traded for and acquired his contract. One guy was a guy you kept for 1 year and then let leave. And then one is just starting with the team, so obviously can't really judge him. And honestly, I really don't remember much about Eunice Nomley, which probably says more than enough right there. Uh, they just they have not backed Frazier enough with this team. I think him getting first place with that Rapids team is incredible. I know and I agree that that Rapids team was not good as a 1 seed, and yet he still got them there. In 2020, they were also in the playoffs, 5th place. He was in charge. 2021, first place, way higher than they should have been. Last year, I think honestly, they just came back to reality. This is a 10th place roster from last season. And I think in the current season, I think they're underperforming a little bit, but I see this team probably barely in a play-in spot if we're just talking roster. I just they don't have more than like one legit DP on this team, and they haven't for years. I don't think they've backed him. I think he's a fine coach, and if he went somewhere else where they actually backed him with DP players, I think he would do well.
I agree. I do agree with that. But if you are going to hire somebody with the expectation saying, hey, we don't necessarily have the funds to give you these players, do you think you're the guy to do it? And this is completely hypothetical. I have no idea if this is how the conversation went, but my assumption is he did not sign on without the understanding that he wasn't going to have designated players in a league that you are allowed up to. If he came in and was told this is what's going to be, can you do it? And he said yes, and he's not doing it, turn the warmer. I agree that he should. He absolutely should, and he should not be punished if he was told we're going to give you all the players you need to get it done, and he hasn't got it. Then it goes higher. But if it was told that way, then I'm thinking it's time to find somebody who thinks they can do that. Granted, you will be consistently looking for somebody who thinks they can do that because nobody can actually do that. Not in this, not anymore.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I think you're right. If he signed on with the knowledge that they weren't going to spend money and he's not getting the job done anymore, then yeah, he should be. He'll probably be fired for that. But again, to your point as well, they, like you said, they will be consistently looking for managers because this is not 2015 MLS anymore. You cannot keep getting away with not spending money on designated players. The top teams all the time now are consistently spending on having multiple designated players on their team. I mean, there's just really not teams anymore in this league that have players or have like at most one DP. I see one so far. I'm scrolling through. I see one team right now with one DP. You want to know what team it is? Dead
No.
last in the Eastern Conference, Montreal. I mean, there might be more. I haven't finished scrolling through the list, but I mean, Red Bull too. Red Bull don't spend on DPs. Usually they're
Right.
okay,
That's
but
where I thought you were going with it.
this season it's Luquinhas and Van Zier, and obviously Van Zier's probably going to be missing a chunk at least of the
Going.
season as he should. So you might as well just have Luquinhas and look where that's going for you guys. But yeah, spend some money and you'll actually get some results, and maybe you'll get to keep a coach.
For
Back your,
those of go ahead.
I was just gonna say back your manager.
I was gonna say for those who are drastically loving this Wrexham story without really recognizing the fact that they're only where they are because of all the money that they spent. Money wins football. Period. This is not the 1800s anymore, where you get a bunch of good players from your local town, you train every day, and you get to go play the other people from the factory down the road, and let's get at it, right? Money wins football. Plain and simple. Now, if you're using a football club to make money, hello, Red Bull, then sure, pay nothing. Get a great academy and go from there. But if you want to win something, you got to pay to play.
Yeah, there's a reason the same, 3 teams win the Premier League every season. It's because they're the teams that spend the money. Man City wins the Premier League every season because, to their credit, they spend the money well, but they spend a lot of money. There's other teams in the league that spend money well. They just don't get to spend the level of money that Man City does. And MLS, I think, will only continue to go in that direction of you have to spend money if you want to win. I think we're at the point where we're attracting good enough talent that you'll see, hopefully, more like Thiago Almada's in the league. And if you're not willing to take a shot and spend money and try to find your own Thiago Almada, you will fall behind.
Yep. Yep. Completely agree there. So
We completely went off on it. This is a hot seat episode. We went off on a roster rules tangent again.
how can you not, though?
I think if you were to summarize all our episodes, it either devolves into roster rules, pro rel, or Red Bull. I would say it's like the 3 things it just somehow falls into.
Well, because at the end of the day, most of our conversations end up being affected by those 3 things, right?
Yeah.
You're either affected by your inability to spend, you're affected by your inability to be punished by going down, or you're affected by the Red Bull. Period.
Or you're affected by the Red Bull.